Hi friends, I painted this little abstract a few months ago and I've had several of you ask me if I had a full tutorial on it, so I thought I would go ahead and do that. And I actually really like the green because it's March and we have St. Patrick's Day coming up, so I thought it was kind of applicable. So I did it on this very small piece of paper. This is that really fun little notebook. I have bought two of them, filled them both up immediately. So I'm going to go ahead and repaint this, and this is for you. You have asked me several times if I did a tutorial on this. So let's go ahead and do that. What I used here is I just took a lid that ironically happens to be green out of my kitchen, and I just drew a circle using my little black wing pencil. And as you can see in there, I'm going to use two things. You can use a yellow ochre, you can use whatever you have, but I'm going to be using my MABs. This is the Brilliant Gold, this one in here. Also, I wanted to let you know, because I don't think I've mentioned this, you can buy MAB pans separately. I tend to buy them in the sets, but you can buy these separately. So this is Brilliant Gold, the one that I predominantly use here. And I'll use the little Artex Gold marker for some of the little dots and to draw on some of these little areas. That's just what I did. You could use pen and ink, use what you have, but these are kind of fun little products. And let's see, I've got my paper here. I believe this, I tore the cover off, but I believe this is the Artisto paper, 140-pound cold press. I'm going to give my Paul Rubens paints watercolor palette. This is the Paul Rubens student grade. It's called the My Lang palette, and it has a lot of really great greens. So I'm just going to give this a spritz to get it activated, and look at all these beautiful greens there are in here. If you don't need the supplies, by the way, I'll put a timestamp, but you can just skip forward. They've got this beautiful, it just happens to match my nail polish. Look at that. Yellow green, there's a tree green, which is kind of my go-to green. Hookers, which is a little bit deeper, a deep hookers, and they've got an emerald and an olive. So I love the greens in this palette. To be honest, they have all the colors I absolutely love. And we'll refer the short to this in the description below too. Ray will do that for you guys. All right, so let's get started. This is a very wet and wet. A little bit, wetter than, say, damp and damp, which I usually say because it is quite washy to get some of these effects. And then I will do a second value with the darker colors here. So I'll just give this a quick dry, and then I'll lay in that second value there for you guys. I'm going to be using my 8 round, but you could, use again what you have. The Princeton Velvet Touch, of course, is one of my favorite brushes. Absolutely, you can use that. You can also, if you have purchased those that whole set of Degatos, you get, I think it's 10 for like $15. Excellent, you guys. I'm still using these. You get 10 various sizes of rounds. Really great if you're a beginner and you just don't want to invest in the Princetons. And my set is currently sold out, hoping to bring those back. It'll depend on the interest. And lastly, I've got my 2 containers of water. Uber important, you guys. Make sure you have a wash and a rinse. And then I've got a little bit of paper towel here to just dab my paint on. All right, so let's get started. What I'm going to do first is just go in and wet this area. So just getting that water in there, going around the edge here, and wet the entire circle. There we go. Now, if you are using a really inexpensive paper, this is probably going to warp on you, and mine might a little bit because I'm going pretty wet here. There we go. And I have to work fast because if it starts to dry, I'm not going to get the same effect. So I really wet that area. I'm going to put some of that green in here, which I should have done before we started. When you're working wet and wet, always get your palette ready to go. So I've got my tree green there. I want to use some of that beautiful emerald green. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And a little bit more of the tree green. There we go. All right, I'm ready. So hopefully my paper here hasn't dried. And I'm just going to go in and start laying it down here. And I'm letting it spread. I'm letting it do its magic, you guys. This is the magic of watercolors. So see, this dried a little bit on that edge. There we go. Almost looks like a world, doesn't it? Like the globe or the earth. And then while it's wet, I'll go in with a little bit of that green, maybe just down in here. Keep in mind, we're going to be using more of that in the second layer, but look how beautiful. This is really, I have to say, you know, one of my favorite ways to paint, because you're just letting the watercolors do their magic, and I love that. So there we go. Maybe even add in a tiny bit. Let's get a little bit of yellow ochre in there. Don't have a space here. Just to give it a little, ooh, yeah, see? Now, when this dries, it will be just a tad bit lighter. There we go. Look at that little swirl. See, that's the kind of stuff that happens here that I love so much. All right. So now that this is at this point, I think what I will do is let's just take out our handy dandy, this is about $20. I'll list this below too, especially in the cold weather, or cold weather for California cold weather. Isn't really that cold. It's probably 50s, but I'm cold. And just give this a dry. Look at the beautiful swirls and blending. Isn't that gorgeous? And when this dries, it will be a little dry, lighter. So bear with me here. Get this nice and dry. So beautiful, but see how it lightened up? Okay, that's pretty dry. All right. Let's go in now and we will, let's see here. Let me think about this. I think what I'll do is go in with some of that emerald green. You could use turquoise here, like, you know, make it your colors. I thought the green was kind of fun because it is going to be St. Patrick's Day. And I'm going to go in with quite a bit of water here, and I'm just going to, I'm kind of smushing my brush, if you can see that here. Smush, yes, that is a real word. I'm just kidding, I don't think it is. That's my real word. And just making these kind of abstracty shapes, another one of my words. Adding in a little bit of that tree green. Now what I want to do is just go in and maybe with a damp brush, because this is where you'll get such interesting effects here, is just taking a damp brush and kind of pulling some of that paint out, and I'm getting some of this effect here. Let's go in with a little bit more. Ooh, there's a nice dark green. There we go. Look how fun that is. I'm just tapping in, and again, I'm saying watercolors, do your thing. Do your magic. Look how fun and beautiful that is. And you're getting these layers. You might even get some blooms. I could go in and maybe splatter a little. Let's take some of that lime green, which I didn't have in the first one. Not lime green. This is, what color did I say this was? What's it say? Hold on. Yellow green in the MEEDEN palette. And let's splatter some of that. Ooh, yeah, see that? Because this is also going to encourage the watercolors to kind of do their particular thing. Okay, so now with that being said, I think I might want to, I'm taking a look at my other painting here to kind of see what I did. So here it is. And we've got all these layers, which is so pretty. But the background layer is the lightest. And then as I built layers, I kind of added in more colors. Now I'm doing this one quite emerald green. I think in that one, I might have had a little bit of, let's see, what blue did I maybe use? I might have used some of that. I don't want to say Payne's gray. That's pretty dark. I might have used some of that Prussian blue. So let's see what that is. Let me get it on a palette here. Let's see. Oop, that's not the right one. I dropped my palette the other day, and I think when I put them back in here, I might have mixed some of this up. So I did. This is my Prussian blue. Okay, let's put that in a palette here. Ooh, yeah, that'll be pretty. But I want to go a little bit lighter, so I'm adding a little bit more water to it because I don't want it to be too dark. Look at that, guys. Isn't that gorgeous? Ooh. So wet and wet can be really fun. Now, this paper is, by the way, I looked at this a minute ago. It isn't the Artisto. I ripped the front off, so I think this is just a really inexpensive paper I got over at Michael's, but it's a good paper to play on. I'm using so much water, you know, it's kind of making a difference here, and it's warping a bit. So let's just give this a shot now. Ooh, but look at that. Isn't that gorgeous, you guys? And again, I honestly, I do not get this look with anything else. Actually, while we're here, I think I'm going to go in with, and I'm kind of, again, I'm smushing my brush just like that. And just softening some of those lines and really kind of letting the watercolors do their thing. Oops, I cut that off a little bit, didn't I? And I'm working in composition-wise. This is thirds. Let's see if I don't think I have it here right now, but if you had a tic-tac-toe grid, I'm kind of going in the third corner over here. Really, really interesting, guys. So try and do that. And I'm making this a little lighter. Predominantly, the darker values are down here. I might just add in a little bit just to kind of guide the eye so that our eye just doesn't get stuck right here. And I'm going to be adding in some little gold highlights with this, so that'll kind of move our eye around. Let me just grab the tiniest bit of that Prussian blue, because you want, if you have a color like Prussian blue down here, you want to build it up and let it move up into other areas as well. And I'm actually just going to leave those little hard lines there. All right, let's grab our little heat gun here and dry that. Isn't this so, this is such a fun way to paint. Look at the beautiful blues and greens and yellow greens. Isn't that just gorgeous? That is the type of stuff that really excites me. And that's what you call, you know, when I talk about mixing on your paper. It's so much fun. Because you could grab this out of a palette and put it on here. There we go. I have to say, for an inexpensive paper, this is actually doing pretty well. It's not leaking through. It might be called Artist Loft. If I can find a link on Amazon, I will link it. It's Artist Loft. I don't think I have another one here I could show you, but it's their inexpensive line. I believe it is 140-pound cold press. Okay, let's move on. So now at this point, I think I want to go ahead and use my gold pen. Just want to make sure that is dry. Yes. And if you don't have a gold pen, use a black marker, but these are really fun. Unfortunately, I don't think they sell these individually. I had them in a whole set. And what I'm going to start doing now is just drawing on, let me grab my other one, kind of these little leaves and such. So I'll start down here. The reason why I really like these markers is, I'm going to move my camera up a bit so I don't, there we go, run out of space here. They're very opaque, and I like that. So let's just draw some flowy little leaves. There we go. So fun, isn't it? And then we'll do one on the other side. So see how much that shows up on here? I really appreciated that. There we go. And I made these lines, they're kind of guiding your eye into that direction, but now I want to pull the eye back in because these are leading that way, those are leading that way. So you don't want to send your viewer's eye off your painting, right? So let's do this one here, which kind of guides them back in. We could do one here. So we're not completely guiding them to exit our painting over here. Do a few more of these. Look how beautiful this is. And wouldn't this, okay, so of course my mind immediately goes to, wouldn't this be beautiful in pinks or violets? Oh my gosh. Okay, the other thing I'm gonna do is use this little pen and just do some dots. Look how fun this is. So any marker you have, you could use, and I want to kind of draw attention that this is a circle. So I'm going to kind of outline with dots this circle here. There we go. So that kind of is drawing our viewer's eye out that way. These are going this way. Really interesting. And let's do the same here. Instead of a leaf, I'm just going to do these little dots, kind of in a circular pattern. So it's a little bit outlining the circle. I've got this up in this third. Now these are going to pull their eye back down in here. Just outline. I'm going to hold this up in a minute, you guys, because you have got to see how beautiful these mixes are. They are, I think, stunning. And that is what's so fun about painting, mixing your colors on your paper, because you come up with color combinations you would never see. All right, that's good for that. Now I'm going to go in and add a little flower here. So let's see what color we should do that with. I think I'll do that with, I always wish I could hear you guys because I feel like you're saying something as you're watching this. I'm going to go in with a really dark value. You almost could go in here with what? A gold. You could go in here with, you know, any other color because you want some contrast. That's why I was a little worried about using a dark color. How about if we use the, let's see if we can use the tree green. Or I'm sorry, this is yellow green. And I'm going in full on. I'm not even putting it on my palette because I want this to be like 90% pigment, 10% water. And I'm just going to do a little flower here. So point, press, point, press, kind of like a leaf. I'm doing little guidelines there. Press, point, press. There we go. I almost hate to cover this beautiful flow. Oh, you know what? It's not even really showing up in your camera, is it? In your vision of this. Let's go in with a little bit of that dark, dark, dark green. There we go. That shows up. So let me show this to you up close. See that? In my original, I actually, oops, kept the background lighter. So when I went in with the darker flower, it kind of showed up. I could add in a little bit of that just to bring attention because I feel like it's kind of subdued. There we go. This is all about play. So that looks really dark. You can't see that in the camera so well, but it actually shows up quite well here. Okay, now that we're at this point, what I might do is just paint a couple of those little leaves. So let's see, what color of green is this? Let's see what this one is. Oh, that is the hooker's green. I want something a little bit lighter. I'm just gonna paint a couple of those leaves here. I think I'll do that light green. And just point, press, point, point, press, point, press, and lift up. Just to give a tad bit of color in there. We could do a little bit of that. There we go. How fun. Here's one. Oh, so much fun, you guys. Just play with this, like do your colors. Oops, kind of went out of the lines. Let's see if I can pick that up. Dry my brush off. Yep, no problem. No worries. Now, the last thing I want to do on here is just splatter this with some of the gold. So anytime you're using, look at that, isn't that, ooh, like, don't you just want to play in that? Oh my gosh. You're using gold for anything. I use it much thicker than my regular water paints. And what I'm gonna do right here is just splatter some of that. So here we go. Oh my gosh, you guys. I hope you try this and I hope you send me some of your pictures. If you're on Patreon, go on there and share. And then I'll hold this up and show it to you. So pretty. And I can't wait to see what you do with this. There we go. Just add in a few more little dots. Oh, this is really pretty, you guys. All right, let me hold it up. The color combinations are gorgeous. Now, keep in mind, see, I did my flower quite dark. You might want to do yours a little lighter. Let's see what happens if I blot some of that. Because I'm kind of wishing it showed up more. Nah, that didn't do anything. You could almost make that flower white, actually, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, I hope you had fun with this. I sure did. And Anne, I hope you give this a try. All right, happy painting, everybody. I will put my everything I used down below. And, you know, check out my Patreon. I do have a free membership there, but lots of free kits and tutorials, behind the scenes, all kinds of fun stuff. We're having a lot of fun there. And, you know, I really thank you guys for encouraging me to do that, because I probably wouldn't have never went down that. I'm a little tech challenge. So thank you so much, everybody. You guys are the best. I really love you guys. You make all this worth it. And please share, you know, what you're doing and give it your creative twist, because that makes it your art. All right, I will talk to you soon. I hope to see some of you on Patreon, and happy painting. I'll be right here reminding you, you are an artist. All right, love you guys. Bye.